Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are doing a deep dive into something I believe could be a monumental shift in the crypto space. We are talking about XRP and the year 2026. Forget the day-to-day price charts for a moment. We are looking at the fundamental, structural changes that could reshape XRP's entire ecosystem. By the end of this video, you'll understand why 2026 isn't just an arbitrary date, but a potential convergence point for several massive catalysts. Let's start with the big one, the bull case for an XRP price of over $8. Now, I know that sounds ambitious, but the logic isn't based on hype. It's based on a shift from a retail-driven market to one dominated by institutional utility. For years, XRP's value was debated by retail investors. But the game is changing. We are talking about real-world use cases in cross-border payments, powered by institutional adoption. This isn't about buying a coffee with crypto. It's about moving billions of dollars across the globe efficiently. The $8 valuation and beyond comes from projecting the value required for XRP to handle even a small fraction of the trillions of dollars in global payment flows. The utility drives the value, not the other way around. So, what unlocks this institutional utility? 3 key pillars. The first, and perhaps the most important, is regulatory finality. The long-running case with the SEC has been a dark cloud over XRP, but we are getting closer to the end. Once there is definitive legal clarity in the United States that XRP itself is not a security, the floodgates for institutional adoption could burst open. US banks and financial institutions, which have been sitting on the sidelines due to regulatory uncertainty, can finally integrate XRP into their operations without fear of legal backlash. This isn't just about the US. A clear ruling from the SEC sets a precedent globally, giving institutions worldwide the green light they've been waiting for. The second pillar is a technical one, but it is absolutely massive. ISO 20022. Think of this as the new global language for financial messages. The old system, SWIFT, is like sending a fax. ISO 20022 is like sending a data-rich, instant message. It's a universal standard that banks all over the world are migrating to. The deadline for this migration is November 2025. And guess which digital asset is built to be compliant with this new standard? XRP. As banks upgrade their systems to be ISO 20022 compatible, integrating a native asset like XRP becomes seamless. It's no longer a difficult, bespoke integration. Instead, it's like plugging in a compatible device. By 2026, we will be living in a post-migration world where the financial plumbing is ready for assets like XRP. This brings us to our third pillar, institutional liquidity. For big players to use XRP for large-scale payments, they need deep, reliable liquidity. This is where two major developments come into play, ETFs and stablecoins. Let's talk about ETFs first. A spot XRP ETF, similar to the Bitcoin ETFs we've seen, would be a game changer. It provides a regulated, easy on-ramp for pension funds, asset managers, and other major financial players to gain exposure to XRP. It adds legitimacy and, more importantly, a massive pool of capital that deepens liquidity. With regulatory clarity, the path to an XRP ETF becomes much clearer. Then we have stablecoins on the XRP ledger, specifically the upcoming Rippleback stablecoin, RLUSD. This is huge. Imagine a fully collateralized, audited stablecoin pegged to the US dollar, built right on the XRPL. This creates a trusted bridge asset. Institutions can onboard into the ecosystem using a familiar, stable unit of account, and then seamlessly convert to XRP for the actual cross-border transaction before converting back to a stablecoin on the other side. The RLUSD will supercharge the decentralized exchange on the ledger, creating new arbitrage opportunities and attracting market makers. This builds the robust, on-demand liquidity needed for the on-demand liquidity product, now just called Ripple Payments, to function at a massive scale. By 2026, the combination of ETFs and a native, trusted stablecoin could provide the deep liquidity that has been the missing piece of the puzzle. Now, let's add a wildcard into the mix, BRICS. The bloc of nations including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa is actively exploring alternatives to the US dollar for international trade. They are building new payment systems and bridges. While there's no official partnership, the technology underlying the XRP ledger is perfectly suited for this kind of multi-currency, cross-border settlement. If this bloc, which represents a huge portion of the world's population and economy, were to adopt a neutral bridge asset for their new financial system, a technology like the XRPL would be a prime candidate. This is more speculative, of course, but it represents a geopolitical tailwind that could accelerate the shift away from traditional systems and toward decentralized solutions. By 2026, these new systems will be more mature, and the role of digital assets within them will be much clearer. So, let's piece it all together. Imagine the landscape in 2026. The SEC case is a distant memory, providing legal certainty in the world's largest market. The global banking system has fully migrated to ISO 20022, making their infrastructure natively compatible with the XRP ledger. A spot XRP ETF is trading on major exchanges, funneling billions in institutional capital into the market. The RLUSD stablecoin is thriving, creating a vibrant and liquid ecosystem on the XRPL. It's the convergence of these four powerful forces, regulatory, technical, liquidity, and geopolitical, that makes the 2026 thesis so compelling. The focus finally shifts from speculation to large-scale, real-world utility. However, we have to be balanced. What are the risks? First, the regulatory picture could get complicated again. A negative outcome in the final stages of the SEC case, or a new wave of restrictive legislation, could slam the brakes on US adoption. Second, the adoption of ISO 20022 by banks doesn't automatically mean they will use XRP. They could choose to use the new messaging standard without a crypto component, sticking to traditional settlement methods. The competition is fierce. Third, an XRP ETF is not guaranteed. It depends on the SEC stance and market conditions. Without it, institutional onboarding remains slower. Finally, the promise of utility might take longer to materialize. Corporate and banking adoption cycles are slow. Even with all the pieces in place, it could take years for payment volumes to reach levels that would justify a significantly higher XRP valuation. So, what's the final verdict? The 2026 outlook for XRP is not based on hope, but on a series of observable, structural shifts happening right now. The move from a retail-centric to an institution-centric ecosystem is the core of the thesis. The combination of post-SEC clarity, the ISO 20022 deadline, and the creation of deep institutional liquidity through ETFs and stablecoins creates a powerful setup. While risks certainly remain and timelines can shift, the fundamental groundwork is being laid for XRP to fulfill its original purpose as a high-speed, low-cost bridge asset for global finance. 2026 is the year we might just see it all come together. What do you think? Am I being too optimistic, or do you see the same convergence on the horizon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, this is not financial advice, just an exploration of the possibilities. Thanks for watching, and if you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. See you in the next one.